welcome back to another edition of Salty on Religion. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you watch the beautiful, beautiful landscape instead of looking at my ugly mug. Wow. I kind of do some housekeeping. I got a comment, well, several, but one particular comment stood out on my video about my observations on the Bible, and you can go back and watch it. I won't rehash what I said on the video, but the thing that kind of sparked my other observation has to do with your conviction, your beliefs, and how strong is your belief based on can what you believe withstand argument and debate. I stated before, I don't know everything there is to know about anything, and Christianity is no exception. I am on my own personal journey. Your mileage may vary. You may be totally convinced that the Bible is 100% true, is 100% to be taken literally. I'm cool with that. I don't think if I believe that, I would be intellectually honest. If I believe, I'm not knocking you. You believe what you want. I believe what I want, but it doesn't work for me, because if I tried to apply the Bible, everything the Bible says literally, I'd be dead. But that's just me. Back to the original point of how strong is your conviction, how strong is your belief if you cannot withstand questions about your belief or questions about your perspective on things. And it goes beyond Christianity. It goes to anything. It goes to environmentalism. It goes to political ideology. It goes to something as simple as what kind of car do you like? There are facets of people's beliefs and understandings that I took a history class in college, and the professor, I really liked this professor. He said a lot of profound things, but one thing he said is the American culture, and I'm sure it's not limited to American culture either, but people in America, well, I just say people in general, they, once their ideology, once their belief is set, if there is irrefutable proof to the contrary, people become unraveled. The whole, it's dealing with the 5 stages of grief. When somebody finds out that something that they've taken for true all their lives turns out to be wrong, so they either A, panic and deny and it becomes the person who broke the news to them, it becomes their fault, not reality. Not, some people cannot handle being just the least bit wrong. Me included. I don't like to be wrong, but I've been around long enough to know that it is conceivable that old Salty might be wrong about something. I said it here, that's right. It's on video. I could be wrong about some things. But people have a real hard time admitting that or understanding that fact. And when they find out they are wrong about this or that, they shut down. They completely abandon, it's kind of like plugging your ears. La 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 la, I'm not listening to you. La 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 la. They become like 4-year-olds that found out that that I don't know, Transformers aren't real. I'll give you a moment with that. But back to the one particular comment. I say in the video that, hey, I don't know everything. This is just my opinion. And this person said, kind of, lack of a better phrase, just kind of spewed the party line. You know, don't trust your own understanding, da 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 da. You know, the Lord. You know, and I've heard that before. Like I said, I'm old. I've been around. And I didn't dismiss this person because I get that it's hard to put your thoughts down in written form, especially in the format that you're allowed to comment on Google Plus. So I get it. I didn't totally dismiss the person, but I wasn't quite sure where they were going. You know, to me, my perception of their comment was that, well, I'm just stupid and I'm not a true believer because I'm trying to understand it in my own terms and not in God's terms. Well, you know, and there's the paradox. The Bible, to some, is a set of rules that you're supposed to follow, but if God doesn't want me to understand it in my own ways, how am I supposed to follow his rules? You know, so it's kind of like, hey, here's what I want you to do, here's the procedure on how to do it, but don't worry if you don't understand it, because that's okay, because only I understand it because I wrote it. You don't need to understand it. Is it just me, or does that just doesn't make sense? So if your belief is so fragile that you can't handle somebody questioning it, then you don't have much of belief. You have you know, you're not, your faith is what's not strong enough, not the person who questions it, in my opinion. Because I got a video response from Hosh Nassi about my first video concerning atheists and Christian motivations, and he was very articulate. I get his point of view, and I agree with him. I agree with him 100%. And I responded, and there's one more point that he made that that I still want to respond to, but I think we'll do that. We're gonna get together. Well, I want to get together and do like a collaboration video where we can debate our viewpoints back and forth, and that's a good thing. When you stop debating, when you stop discussing things, and you shut out all debate, all conversations, then you know, that's when you've lost the argument. To me, when you cannot no longer pose a credible or compelling argument to your point of view, then and you start calling names, or you start blocking people, or you just say, well, I'm just right, then to me you've lost the argument, because your argument isn't strong enough to stand on its own. And you know, at this point in my life, I don't know enough to know or to be able to argue all points of views. I know what works for me, and I'm just putting it out there to foster debate, to foster conversations, to get us to talk to each other, because only when we talk to each other and communicate with each other that we can find common ground I'm not saying compromise, albeit there is a little bit of that in there. I'm not saying give up on your beliefs, but don't shut out other points of views, and definitely don't shut out people that you love just because they believe differently. You know, it'd be a pretty boring world if everybody believed like you do or believe like I do. Trust me, you don't want to believe like I do. Sometimes I scare myself. But if you go to any organization in the world, I wholeheartedly will stake money on this. You go to any organization, be it just 2 people, like one person, and you ask them, what's your biggest problem? What's your biggest challenge? What would make your organization function better? You know what the answer is going to be? I'll give you a second. The answer is going to be communication. So when we've got to keep communicating, and that's pretty much sums it up. 2 people can be right at the same time, and 2 people can be totally wrong at the same time. But unless we communicate with each other, we won't know, and we'll just go away with hurt feelings. You know, and I get that. Well, we'll just have to agree to disagree, albeit, you know, like I said, both people could be right at the same time, just in different contexts. And you know, it's impossible. 3 crosses. It's impossible to put every situation, get every situation to work into every single context. So that's where I'm coming from. Leave a comment, complaint, whatever. You know, I don't block any comments, but if you leave a stupid comment, I might just respond with a stupider comment. So buckle your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Later.